Part 5, crime, the silent fifth element in hip-hop. In the last episode, Brad left it off with having that criminal mentality. It's all about giving your friends the last. If you got a sub, you split it in half. If your friend wants to borrow a hoodie, nah man, you ain't gonna borrow no hoodie from me. I can show you how to get this hoodie. That's the criminal mentality. That's what separated the criminals from the hustlers. Dare I say the hustlers were in denial. They thought they weren't criminals.
And everybody say,
I don't wanna go up, do I go up? I don't wanna go up, do I go up?
how to get anymore.
I don't wanna grow up. I'm a DYS kid and I have remorse. All the things I did. 'Cause I've been so happy, darling, ever since the day you found me. So
So I guess I'll just start this. Graffiti artist in the paint like Perkins.
Because when you did graffiti, you was outside. You was on the buses, you was on the trains, you was out there bombing. And dare I say, nothing changed, right? It's like you were viral. People didn't know who you was, they just knew that tag. And everybody had a different style of tagging. So it was like, wow, look at the way this dude did this tag. Who is he? And then when you find out who it is, you go out, you get together, and then you go bomb together. But the detectives are watching. They want to know who you are. And they're going to have you painting schools. They're going to bring you to juvenile court. They're going to hold you in DYS, depending on how much damage you've done, and depending on your living situation at home and things like that. And if you're held in DYS for a month, that's going to mess with your whole school year.
A young boy, way back then, way back when, 149 Franklin.
Let's just say you get held back in the 8th grade. All your friends go on to high school. You're still in the 8th grade. Now you have a chip on your shoulder. And who you gonna vent to? The kids in the street, kids out there getting it, the kids that got trackers, the kids that understand your pain, the DYS kids.
So if a young person came into the system and bail was set and they were unable to make bail for 2 weeks or so, or someone was willing to put up the bail, that young person's education would be disrupted to the extent that very often they were not permitted back.
Because I'm not.
The music, it impacted all our lives so heavily, especially in the 90s. It was still kind of new, it was fresh, between the fashion, the gear, you know, the cars they were driving in the videos. I'd never forget the feeling of just, it was just great. Even now talking about it, the nostalgia running through my veins. It's
Now fashion is another element in hip hop. And growing up in Massachusetts, the Boston area in the 90s, that could get you in a lot of trouble. You know, Run DMC said My Adidas. They were the first ones to bring fashion to hip hop, right?
which other direction was it supposed to go in? Every movie you put on back then, every song you put on back then, the crime was glorified. The glitz, the glamour, and everything that came with that life.
Run DMC, because of, God bless, Jam Master Jay said, let's dress like those D-boys.
Right.
So they dress like the way street guys dress,
Right.
drug dealers would dress.
And when you was wearing a certain fashion back then, it was like that kind of let people know if you was in or you wasn't in. It kind of separated the squares from the nerds. And Adidas was a big thing. And if you was wearing Adidas back then, it was dangerous because it kind of represented that, you know, you was all in and you had that criminal mentality. So, you know, you knew what you was up against. You knew when you put them sneakers on, and if you went downtown Boston, there might be some type of drama, but you was with all the smoke, you know.
That Menace to Society soundtrack has some bangers on it that's relevant to this day. Pull up in the drive-thru, seen Buddy with the rims on the same Stang. What'd he do? Robbed it. Crime. Glorification, if you would, for lack of a better term. Like, okay, you know, how many dudes do you think after that movie started jacking rims? You know, cats were taking Alpines, Kenwoods back then, whatever they could get their hands on. You know, it was wide open.
There was gangs like the Franklin Hill Giants, the Humboldt Raiders, and Adidas was a big thing. And if you was wearing Adidas back then, it was dangerous. So fashion, that element of hip hop, the parallel with the crime, you're either gonna be a victim of a crime, someone's gonna jump you and try to take your shit, take your sneakers, take your chain, because the way you look, or you're gonna end up doing a crime because someone tried to test you. So that's the parallels with the crime where I'm from.
With crime comes trauma.